Hi everybody, it's Alessia from the Radical Health Show. Today is April 5th, 2011, and we're moving on with more tips on how you can protect yourself from radiation. Just a few weeks ago, the nuclear power plant in Pickering, Ontario, admitted to dumping over 70,000 liters of radioactive water into Lake Ontario. So that's a real wake-up call for us that even if this is happening on the other side of the planet, it's happening also in our own backyard, so we're always going to have to deal with radiation. So let's prepare ourselves, feel empowered, and get right to it. So last time I talked about some herbs that help protect from radiation. David Wolf has been talking about aloe vera that can be consumed fresh or it can be consumed raw in a tea form. It's very good for protecting against radiation. Also, Cal Sellers, an herbalist, recommends wormwood and chaparral, but those two can actually be toxic, so it's very important to not use large amounts of it or use it for prolonged periods of time. Another thing is both black and green tea have shown radioprotective effects, whether taken before or after exposure. But some green tea and black tea is contaminated with fluoride, so make sure you have a very reliable source if you're going to use it. Another suggestion I have is baking soda. Taking a half a teaspoon in some water once or twice a day, bare minimum, is highly recommended. Not only is it great for flushing out lactic acid and for helping cancer patients, it also has anti-radiation benefits. So it's dirt cheap, it's readily available. Just make sure that you get the non-aluminum kind because the Arm & Hammer ones will contain aluminum. Yes, very disturbing.
Go straight to your brain.
Yes, straight to your brain.
Through the blood-brain barrier.
Yum. Yeah, not baking with that. No.
Yeah.
Bob's Red Mill baking soda, very good.
Alkalizing.
Very alkalizing to the body, which we've learned is very important to protecting against radiation. Another thing I want to say is that if you have been exposed, taking a bath with Epsom salts is very beneficial. You dissolve 1 pound of sea salt and 1 pound of baking soda, and you stay in that bath for 20-25 minutes. Then you come out and let the salt dry on your skin for 4 to 8 hours, and then rinse off. Another thing is if you've been exposed to radiation, you have radiation burns, you can use vitamin E oil, vitamin C, aloe vera, and Susan Weed, who's an herbalist, she recommends St. John's wort oil. So if you have to treat any topical burns, those are some great alternatives. I wanted to talk to you about the book Conscious Eating by Dr. Gabriel Cousens. He talks a lot about how to protect yourselves from radiation. He suggests lowering your amount, if not eliminating your amount of animal foods, because you want to eat lower down on the food chain. He also says that you want to stick to more leafy greens as opposed to root vegetables, because root vegetables, if the soil is contaminated, will have up to 4 times more radioactive material. He says that the best chelator for radioactive material is sodium alginate, which is found primarily in members of the kelp family. So again, we're back to seaweeds. He says it binds to other metal pollutants like excess barium, lead, plutonium, cesium, and cadmium. What's really fascinating that I've learned is that each algae has its own role. So brown sea vegetables like Irish moss will bind to excess strontium and iron. Red sea vegetables like dulse are best for binding to plutonium. And we've actually learned that plutonium is being released at Fukushima. So let's just keep in mind that dulse is a very good option. Also, green algae bind to cesium-137 most effectively, and we've learned that that too has been making its way across the globe. So good to know. It's recommended to have 3 ounces of sea vegetables a week, and in cases of acute exposure, you should definitely up that to about 6 ounces a week. But again, I leave that up to your discretion. It all depends on where else you're getting iodine in your diet and if you have any existing conditions, of course. Gabriel Cousens also mentioned miso and how that's very beneficial against radiation. I have my own issues with soy. I'm not a huge fan of soy, as many people know, so I leave that up to you, but I have to mention that It has a zybecolin, which is a chelating agent, a fiber that is especially good for drawing out radioactive materials. Other fiber-rich foods for chelating include whole grains, nuts, seeds, and beans. Fiber contained in pectin is found in fruits like apples and seeds, especially sunflower. And while we're on the topic of seeds, you should be eating some pumpkin seeds for magnesium, for zinc, hemp seeds to get all your omega-3 and your good fats, and of course Brazil nuts, which are full of selenium. Phytates can be found in grains and beans, and sulfur-containing amino acids found particularly in the cabbage family are also good chelators. So in the next few videos, we'll talk about more about sprouting and show you how we've been sprouting kale and broccoli primarily. The next food to talk about are beets. Beets are not only good for the liver and a blood detoxifier, they also protect the nervous system. They protect against the absorption of plutonium-238 and 239 and iron-55 and 59. Bee pollen is another great food that Gabriel Cousin recommends. They are supportive of the immune system and protect both the red and the white blood cells against their usual depletion from radiation. Bee pollen is high in vitamins A, B, C, and E, nucleic acids, lecithin, cysteine, and vital minerals like selenium, calcium, and magnesium. Bee pollen is one of the most powerful foods you can possibly consume. Yeast is another anti-radiation food. It's high in selenium and all the B vitamins and nucleic acids. Yeast is not raw, it is processed, so it's a little bit less on the list of priorities, but it's good to mention. Garlic contains amino acid cysteine, the high-quality organic sulfur, and an unidentified substance called vitamin X by the Soviets, which both prevents the absorption of radioactive isotopes and helps to draw them out of the body. Cysteine is an antioxidant that we talked about earlier, which helps to quench free radical production. The sulfur, which is high in all members of the cabbage family, prevents the uptake of sulfur-135. Siberian ginseng is an adaptogen because it produces a generalized rebalancing and healing effect on the body from all of the stressors, one of which being radiation. Siberian ginseng has been shown to lengthen the survival time after exposure. Astragalus and echinacea should be taken daily for about 1 week before and 1 week after radiation therapy, according to Gabriel Cousins. Ginseng panax is an important anti-radiation herb, particularly because of its ability to protect the immune system and bone marrow production, as well as its general energizing effect on many organ systems. The last herb I wanted to mention today is ashwagandha. It's a fantastic herb for the adrenal glands because it's not just our thyroid that's going to have to work extra hard during these times. Our adrenal glands need our support, so that means lots of sleep, stay mellow, don't stress out, and try to incorporate some ashwagandha. It is my lunch break, so I'm going to go have lunch. I have my green smoothie. It has bee pollen, it has chlorella, it is very green. It is also very delicious. It has celery, spinach, and pear as well. Bruno has his too.
I have a red smoothie because of beet.
I don't like beets in my smoothie. I like it simple. I have spinach, I have chlorella, I have pear, everything I need. We will have one more part 4 of this series, where I will give you the top 10 list that I've come up with for an anti-radiation lifestyle. Till next time, this is Alessia wishing you peace, love, and radical health.
Okay, we're recording now. Hold on, Effie, please. No, I don't have it.